Are we live? Are we there?
It looks like we're
Yes,
live.
yes, yes, yes. We
Well,
are
and
live.
more than anything, just alive and well. I'm
I,
really happy to see your face, man.
I'm happy to be plugged into the actual show.
we managed merch plugs right at the beginning because
2 seconds in, we got it done.
I'm seeing your face and you're totally
Exactly.
plugged in. This is
Mm,
great. Oh wait, I've got
That's
my mug here too. I do actually have the
the mega
mug
pickle.
version.
Oh,
Let me.
okay. No mega pickle. Come on, man. We got to do the mega pickle.
Mega Pickle's actually on the bookshelf right now, so I can't quite reach
I,
what's
I,
going on over
I'm with you. It's cool. It's cool. Traditional stuff. I have to say, I'm first. I'll start off by saying is I am super happy that we finally got a chance to do this.
there. Yes.
It's been something that we talked about for a while, and we haven't really been hanging out. That's really the big thing for this thing. Really, uh, we really used to hang out a lot
Yeah,
before,
on the
and
regular.
we would have like lunch hangouts and stuff like that. We would just do chill, whatever, eating burgers, going ramen, and we'll talk about the ramen place. I have an update on that part. Uh, but I do want to say the best of our week episode 1 is kicking it off, and I think a lot of people were very happy to see that we were putting something together. I wanted to double check with you and see how's your day, because that was maybe the first thing I would probably say. How is your day, Mr. Juan?
I feel that this won't be sort of an unfamiliar vibe for
Yeah.
folks in the year as we're closing out 2020.
Hmm.
Um, I am so happy to be sitting down and having this conversation with you because I'm a little burnt out. I feel with
I
the holidays
um
coming in, and I'm sure you've got a lot on your plate. I have a lot on my plate, and a
yeah.
lot of people out there stressed. It's been kind of a rough go, and
Yes.
holidays can be an exciting and stressful time anyway. Under the
Oh,
best,
on their own. Oh,
yes,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
under the best
Holidays have
of
their own level of like whatever, just the whole travel, family, a whole bunch of different things going on, and trying to get things done before the holiday. If your day job and stuff like that, a whole bunch of things going on, and um,
And
for
so
me,
for all
yeah,
of that, just to kind of close out that thought, for all of that and the anxiousness, and we're trying to do something, something special for Lex, and trying to find some fun activities, and we're figuring out our schedule of like Zoom calls for family as we kind of get closer to the big days of the individual holidays. And more than anything else, I'm actually just really grateful. We haven't had any major catastrophes. Our
yeah.
family's healthy right now, and again, we've got this as a great platform. We get to take advantage of some really fun tech so that we can actually make things like this happen.
That has to be if anything else, well, if there was one silver lining in this entire year, is the fact that we did have the somewhat of an infrastructure ready for us to kind of use. Mobile devices were advanced enough that we had a portable video conferencing system in our pocket all the time, and it kept us connected. It kept us from having to go from that massive, really big disconnect. Had this happened at any other timeline, this would not have been the same.
Yeah.
Um, for me, with the year kind of winding down, uh, it's been. I mean, it's been a little bit. It's getting to me a little bit at the end of the year. I'm not going to deny the fact that it's been a little. Um, I mean, it was crazy. Like with the way the situation kind of went through, we
Hmm.
went like seriously phone after phone after phone, device, tech, something. And once a week we had something.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got Josh Quinones in the comment, man. Hey
Hey,
man, how you doing? Yeah, a buddy of mine here. Yeah, Southern California, keeping it local. Um, and like yeah, I'm really looking forward to just kind of like winding down. I'm thinking of maybe take some time off between Christmas and New Year. I need to feel that disconnect so that I can restart fresh.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of working through the last few videos. I have a little bit of a backlog that I do
Got a
apologize.
little bit of a back. I've got a lot of bit of a backlog. I'm right there with you.
I have a lot of little backlogs, one after another. No, the yeah, no, it's something that the short answer is I think we all feel it. Time has gone. We've gone through a lot this year, and hanging out with you, kicking it, talking with you, hanging out and doing this type of show for me is therapeutic in one ways. And in another way, the best thing we could do right now till at some point, hopefully we can get back to somewhat of a normal process of hanging out and going and grabbing a meal and stuff.
And I feel like, just to kind of close out this idea and to sort of, in the interest of good mental health, and I think both of us have hosted conversations where we know other folks out there need to kind of get some of this stuff off their chests too. I don't know, man. Like, now that we're starting to get a little positive news, those little glimmers of hope on the horizon of like vaccines that'll be coming out or ways that we can treat this more effectively, it almost feels like, I don't know. If you ever did any distance running? But for me, it was always the worst when I knew exactly how far I was from the finish line, because then I could feel the whole weight of the race behind me. When I was in flow state and I was just going and I was kind of just letting the lizard brain take over and I wasn't paying attention, like, man, those were my best times. But if someone would pop out of that and snap me out of that flow state and say like, oh, you're down to your last 800 meters, you got to push it, I'd fall apart. Like I'm just like, I can see the finish line and it's that far away and oh no. So again, it's like now we know that there's still some effort to be made. We still need to figure out what a new normal is, because we don't go back. We don't go back to what life used to look like, but we're getting closer to at least some potential for a new happy medium or a new sense of balance or something. And now it's just like, I got to keep this momentum up. I can keep this momentum up. I've been doing this since February. Oh man. It's like I just wish that I didn't know that the finish line was getting closer, because then I could kind of just keep it in the same flow.
We got I want to say we got used to the system, the process, I guess, that how things were set up. I'm looking forward to seeing what things come up in 2021. I think I realistically would say 2020 had its challenges. It obviously had its big event going on with it. I think 2021 is going to be a road to recovery in a ways. And I'm looking forward to seeing how things go. I mean, for us, at least for our son, for school, we know at least we don't foresee going back to normal schooling till at least probably next school year. So even though we're getting into it, in our area, I think they allowed kids up to second grade to go back to school. So like, TK, kindergarten at first and second. And, my son's in fifth going to sixth. So it's a tough one, but I'm hopeful. Let's just say that I'm hopeful, and we'll see how things go. But as time goes on, we'll also see how the successes and how the actual immunity kind of goes through. There's a lot of trial and error. That's what I feel like. We're in the stage one, product. When I say first gen, I feel like a little bit of a first gen kind of an experiment.
We've got some family and friends that are actually in line already for vaccines. Good. Like we've got some friends of the family who are frontline nurses and have been working in emergency room situations, and it's been a little scary. Like here in Southern California, we just got another report that like ICU beds are basically at capacity. So
we've got
to keep our heads down. I mean, we're here in our household, because I'm immunocompromised and Marie is a little sensitive too. We're back to like, do we need to wipe down the groceries? Probably not, but we might as well use one of the bleach wipes and just in case. It's so unlikely, but that watch that. It'd be like,
the one time you're like, it's okay.
I just reach for the cereal and oh no, it was smeared in disease. So we're back to being a little bit more precious about that.
You were taken down by Cheerios.
No, General Mills.
That's how that's how the obituary will be written. You know what I'm saying, right? It'll be like, he was doing great. It was
so for episode one of the best of our week, TK has already written my obituary.
I meant.
Hold on.
Okay. I gotta remove foot from mouth.
Oh no! See, but I mean, again, I feel like we're at a point where we can acknowledge that like the seriousness of this hasn't gone away.
No. Yeah.
And when we're exhausted, like that's when we might make mistakes. But man, if we can't find a few things just to kind of, even if it's gallows humor, like you writing my obituary.
No, yeah, and I truly, I meant it in all. You know, I love you, man. It's great. Don't worry, it's fine.
All in love. You should
All,
put this on your obituary.
just make sure though, it's like the second line after the "he will be missed." No,
Exactly.
watch it. Watch it be the way it ends up being on my
For,
side.
for how we are today, I feel like this is a good opportunity to take just a little step back, just a mini step back, and kind of chat out an idea. This is a potential format that we're trying out.
Yep.
It's going to be very raw and unpolished while we play around with a couple different pieces and parts and talk to some of our friends who we would love to collaborate with on a platform like this. But the name of the show is very fitting, and for all of the tech criticism and the commentary and the stress and the pressure of getting some of this stuff done and fighting algorithms and playing games with PR, I feel like there's just this little friend conversation that we could probably owe a little more time to, and we want to try and accomplish this every week. A platform for those of you who might join us in the chat, a showcase for us so that we can hang out with good friends, people we really know. I'm seeing a chat already full of faces and usernames that I know. Like I know these.
Yeah.
And so when we say, what's the best of your week, I feel like that's something that we can kind of hold on to, something we can focus on, and some thoughts and some feelings that we can share even when things calm down, even when we do figure out a new normal. Like spreading some goodwill, some tech empathy, and being good tech neighbors is always high on my list of priorities.
I always say I always end the live stream on Saturdays. I always say, if you have a friend, a family member, somebody you haven't talked to for some time, connect, say hi. Anybody and everybody would always love to be, remembered and actually hear from somebody that you haven't talked to for some time. So for me, I just don't feel like we talk enough. And when we do have an opportunity just to hang out, it's generally like the last time we did our collaboration. That was actually a lot of fun. We got a chance to hang out for a little bit, but it was always that whole, time constraint, and we didn't really get a chance to take care of things. So
so I mean, between the two of us, we did what, like 5 hours of conversation on notes and duos. And did you see the comment that I got on my part of the stream where it was like, "Oh, this video is such a sham. These guys are Samsung shills. They didn't talk about the V60 at all." And you're like, we talked about this stuff for like 5 hours.
Dude, I love it when somebody watches the show for like 2 minutes and then makes a decision on the entire show, because that's exactly what it is. The first 2 minutes is it's one of those things that you always have to appreciate. If it's any consolation, the collaboration video that you were very nice to actually help me participate in on Monday.
That was a good video. I really liked how that came together, bud.
It was such a great collaboration of people. Just the span of how all different creators, and I really wanted it to be specific to people that have influenced me in my career, and that I truly, like, I'll turn to each one person that you've seen in that video to basically for advice, for help if they need help, if I need help, things like that. Because a few people mentioned the Z Fold 2, I had a few comments hitting me there saying, "Video sponsored by Samsung." I'm like, why would you say that? Did you not see everything else? So it's like one of those.
And like, again, one of the things that I've loved about 2020 is seeing that trend where these videos, like, what are your favorites, the top this, the best that. Actually, this has been one of the most diverse collections. I did another little video shout out for Shannon Morse. Her video isn't finished yet, but snubs. Again, another creator I am always happy to shout out, especially if you want to talk more security focused.
Yep.
Her take on online security and privacy is second to none. She's super savvy. But we just got into a conversation on Twitter, just like, I was trying to write the script for my own video, and it just came out more and more philosophical the more I kept thinking about what I liked about 2020. I don't know. There's just something in the air where I feel 2020, in all of its weirdness, in all of the stress, in all of the craziness surrounding us, that we actually pushed the boundaries on this stuff in ways that, like, I don't think I've ever seen before in my entire lifetime.
We became way more aware of internet security, connectivity, the fact that most laptops had mediocre front-facing cameras on them, and that actually now is becoming a thing that where manufacturers are trying to put in better
Who did
cameras.
that? Who did that as a joke? That the technology of the year was the webcam. Someone did that. I
I
can't
forgot
remember.
who. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about it. I saw it somewhere, and I can't put my finger on it, but it has to be right. It's like the one thing that we all needed, and then all realized how bad it was when you needed it, because manufacturers have so much just forgot about it. I mean, the 720p camera on a MacBook, and actually most PCs. So that's why webcams are actually one of the hottest selling items this year. If you actually looked online for tech, because people needed decent video. So it is
I have
truly.
never seen so many people, not so much in my family, but definitely in circles of friends, especially out here in Southern California, where I still have a number of friends in production and actors, and no idea how to get like some of that techie stuff done. But this year I had so many people asking me like, well, isn't there like an adapter that I could plug my nice Canon camera into my computer and use that? And suddenly everyone's Zoom calls were looking like way more
Look
cinematic.
good too. Yeah, cinematic, the cameras and every. No, I mean, even I think we're both using our DSLRs, our professional cameras, because that's no, it truly, and I've come to appreciate it. To yeah,
Mhm.
again, it's beautiful, it's nice, and I do want to, and I do feel that we're blessed that we actually are able to even be in that position to actually be able to help and share this type of experience with other people, because you truly want to be able to feel comfortable. So if you can't be in front of the person talking to them, you definitely want to be able to portray the best image you want to be able to portray it, and a good camera definitely helps. And it's a lot of oh man, I'm seeing a lot of good. We have some people from Greece, so
Mhm.
obviously it's this actually could be truly appropriate. Sabaho to everybody. Good morning. Depending where you are, you could be morning. Um, but yeah, no, it's yes. So with that being said, I do want to say, uh, yes, the technology definitely got pushed. We have a lot more people are aware of the fact that if their information's been compromised, the security of Zoom got approved. More platforms, WebEx, Teams, a
Mhm.
lot of other people, and Meet, Google Meet also kind of set up their setup. So I like that, and and obviously we're on StreamYard, which is, I mean, hey, let's just say that without you, I wouldn't be on StreamYard, and I wouldn't be doing the show, because you're the one who kicked me how many times?
I was
3 years.
shilling hard for Restream. TK was like, "No, we'll do StreamYard." I was like, "Fine." I
Fine.
was like, "Okay," and he was
Oh,
like, "Sure," and I was like,
sure.
"Aw."
It's like,
But
what
yeah,
else?
it definitely speaks to something very interesting. We tried to do a family game night, and my sister and her husband were talking about setting up a Discord.
Yeah.
This is so fascinating to watch some of these tools that we techies kind of take for granted. In much the same way that like the pocket computer revolution 10 years ago was
Oh, man.
was was built on the backs of not very popular products. Like people
Mhm.
would make fun of me with my little iPac PDAs and Palm Pilots and stuff before
I
smartphones took over. And
Yep.
now it's services. It's services like that in the past, oh, why do you need to have like your own private little chat room thingy, Bob, there? What's going on?
Why are
Now
you running your
suddenly,
mail server? Yeah.
yeah, well,
Or
yeah.
FTP? Yeah. That's
Now that's become kind of critical infrastructure, and it's coming from these types of influences. It's coming from this type of use that, yeah, again, the people, we're preaching to the choir here. I mean, if you're watching a stream like ours, it's probably because you're already familiar with this kind of stuff. But it has been fascinating watching this sort of permeate, sort of general culture, and how quickly we started adopting these things and how necessary
Mhm.
they became. So it's definitely something to be grateful for. I think this would have been a much more difficult situation to hang in there if this had happened like in the 90s. When I think back on my childhood, when I think back on what I was like as a teenager or trying to, go to school in high school, yeah, we would have had some distractions and some ability to kind of communicate better, but it would have been so much more isolating and so much lonelier than what we've been able to do now. And so it's in the worst way possible. It's been the most amazing way to kind of put our money where our mouths are.
Yep.
That sounded weird. And really take this stuff out for a spin beyond just, well, I showed you a Geekbench score, so that means it's better than something else with a lower Geekbench score.
Bench score, exactly, because we live by Geekbench. Where's my benchmarks are not. We'll have that. We'll have that on the next show. This show we're plugged in.
Well, benchmarks are real life if you use real world apps to benchmark.
True. Yeah, but I think the intention, what I was, the reality is, if we all just use our phones to open and close Twitter and Instagram and check out our emails, you'll be surprised how many phones can do that quite well without needing a benchmark.
I feel like as part of our tech coverage, not necessarily, let's just, sort of talk about how we review phones in this baby, sort of inception of a podcast. I'm going to have to tap your expertise soon, because I feel like I am right on the border of trying to make my real world benchmarks something a bit more consistent. Like, yeah, I look at like a Gamer's Nexus or a Hardware Unboxed or an Antec, and I feel like there's something there that we're still just not quite grokking in smartphone land. And I think it would be it would benefit those of us who really do care about performance beyond, I sideloaded N22 and the number is 6 digits long. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
At the end of it, like I said, as long we have somebody even from Malaysia, but yeah, no, definitely we should, I think, standardizing it, making it a little bit more comprehensive into the actual, I hate to say the word real world, but it's, just the usability of how things are used on a smartphone. It's just, to me, and benchmarks do have a place. I'm not saying that they don't make sense, but they shouldn't be used as the sole source deciding factor of a device worthiness. You shouldn't be using it just based on, we got this, we got an Antutu benchmark on the 888. Congratulations, it's the best thing since sliced bread. Well, hold on a second. What you're referencing is either early hardware, may not even be what your OEM is going to be releasing, what you're buying, what version, what flavor. So there's a whole bunch of factors that we have to kind of play. But you're right. This is not part of, we don't want to make episode 1 of the best of our week, be about that. So let's do
right before we went live, you picked up a box and it made me super Twitter pated because I got the same box.
It is.
Look at that. That is the most adorable thing ever.
Absolutely. And you know what? And it gets even better when you take it out of the box, when you take the bottom box. And right there, yeah, absolutely. The Rode video vlogger, the Rode vlogger kit.
So I just wrote my script for this. It is so much better than I was expecting it to be.
So for reference, I got mine today. It just got delivered earlier, like middle of the day. I didn't even. So I unboxed mine
this morning.
Yeah, I unboxed mine just before we were setting up. I walked in the office. I'm like, I got to open it up. I want to see what's inside, all the pieces. How does it work? How's it cool? Whatever. So for me, so I saw you going with the V50. I'm going with the V60 because that would be my baby. Yeah, that just records the best.
Don't get me wrong. V60, better camera, better actual optics, better camera sensor than the V50. I would still say V50 has been second to none for audio. So because this is a Rode product,
that's true,
and it's got that little microphone thing going on, I'm taking it back to the phone that I think actually does the best job of handling and processing audio. So I feel like it's the kind of back and forth there. It's the way to really push it to its limits.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that, but I don't have a 50. I only got this a 60, so I got to do what I got to do. You
make it work. It's when you're a reviewer and you really got to do what you really got to do.
Hashtag some LG chill guy. We got it, man. We got it. We got it. We
No,
got it,
it
man.
was such a silly
We
thing to
got
show.
it. We got it.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I
that's good.
got them to make a T out of a phone, man. Top that. Let's just do that. I got T. Boom. Next.
Beautiful.
I like
Whenever you need your phone to support the proper T pose. No,
always.
it was such a silly thing to show up because like I've gotten some decent hardware. I've got some earbuds that I'm going to be excited to talk about. MSI sent over their creator laptop.
I saw that. That actually looks really nice. I saw that on your stream.
Pretty clean.
It is.
It's gonna be an interesting conversation because I feel like MSI hardware is doing a phenomenal job while we're all kind of side eyeing what Intel is doing.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting conversation. But Rode, because we've seen so many absolutely terrible like selfie sticks and vlogger accessories that it's so refreshing when a company with some actual production credibility takes this kind of stuff more seriously. That
Oh,
like
absolutely.
every part of the experience is well considered. It's not just a stick to hold the phone, it's a little tripod. It's not just a clamp to stick in an iPhone, it's an all metal bracket that screws the phone into a sturdy grip. It's not just a microphone, it's got a shock mount and a dead cat. There's a secondary bracket so you can consider lighting. I mean,
They include light, which is also
yeah,
like their own little light bright with
it's so
color
nice.
filters. I'm like,
It's
come
got
on.
gels.
They
You
did.
can
Yeah.
gel the light. That's hilarious.
So I already went with the white one. I just wanted to diffuse right now, so that was my initial start. But yeah, no, I when I opened it up, I was super super excited, and even the material actually itself with the handle, it's actually pretty
Mhm.
sturdy. Like when you open it up, this could be
Oh,
really like if you want to even use it with a
I
DSLR.
mean, if we're gonna be like discussing the actual manufacturing,
Oh,
that
look at the rivets.
it's
Yeah.
an ultra sturdy. It's a really high durable plastic, but
Hmm.
it's also honeycombed because that helps it stay lighter. So when you're holding the entire assembly, everything is a little bit lighter. I've been making my own solutions. Usually I go with like a Gorilla Pod,
Hmm.
something that I
Oh
can
yeah.
put another mount on top. This is so much lighter and it's affording a lot of the same, like, well, I need to splay it out and have a tripod and I can just set stuff down. It's pretty handy. So again, silliest thing, vlogger kit, right? My selfie sticks and my vlogging accessories.
My kid
This
is that
this
is like
came as a very fresh surprise to wrap up my week.
yes. So that was actually one of my favorite things this week. But I would have to say, although I haven't really truly appreciated all of the goodness of this, I probably would say there's a couple of more things that were probably some of the best stuff in my week. But let's do this.
Let's do
This
this.
system, this show just showed up today. What would you say? What's some of the things that you could think of that are some of the stuff that's the best of your week for the last week or so, since we're doing it in the middle of the week. So I would probably say anything since the beginning of December. So, well, not the beginning, maybe beginning of last week.
We want to do just kind of like a little round robin catch up.
Yeah, catch up. Let's spit through it. We'll go through it.
So off the top of my head, Marie has properly retired her LG G7.
I heard, yes.
Yeah. So
And
again, as the LG shill guy, that kind of hurts my heart.
hey, man, I
But
borrowed your G7 for a while too, so I know.
you know that phone. She destroyed that phone. The phone that she is replacing it with is a Pixel 4a 5G. I'm
That's a
very
fair.
interested to see how she's gonna handle the transition. So we're gonna
Yeah.
have like a bigger conversation about it, probably in January. I want to give her like enough time to kind of sort out. Again, she's not like us tech reviewers, so like, oh, I've got to remember this password to this random service I don't use very often. It's not like the setup process is down to 90 minutes and then we can run benchmarks.
Yeah. I was gonna say because that's usually for me when I'm transitioning phones. It's a process. It's a process. It's apps. It's folders. It's launchers. It's like a whole bunch of different things. Yeah. No. My wife's transition from one phone to the other. She literally just uses the transfer tool. Though it's easy. It takes time.
I stayed out of her way. You know,
Yeah.
she gets annoyed if I'm sort of like hovering and trying to make her do things. And I looked over and she had the USB-C to USB-A adapter cabled, so her G7 was connected to the new phone, transferring stuff directly. I mean, like she did the thing. She did it all on her own. But of
Well,
course, it was funny that like I don't know. I want to say it wasn't that long. I want to say it was like maybe 10 minutes into using the Pixel. She gives me this quizzical, "Where's the back button?"
you had gestures on. You had wait, no,
It
it's on by
defaults
default.
Android 11.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 11 defaults to gesture. You have to turn it back off.
So I kind of had to like, oh, well, this is how you go home and this is how you do your recents list. And she really likes clearing out apps manually. I don't it's like a holdover from like the old days of Android. She just likes it when her phone's cleaner.
It's
Even
clean.
though it
Yeah.
doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't really accomplish what it used to mean when you would clear out all of your apps. But yeah, we had to have this sit down like, well, you can use it the way that Google thinks you should, or we can turn the buttons back on, and it's totally up to you. So she went back to the 3-button layout on the button.
I'm just happy that they gave us we're back to the option where we're able to get the 3 buttons back as opposed to that 1 2 button concept going on.
Mhm.
That little experiment they tried to go, but yeah, no, it
Yeah,
was
Pill
I
was okay. I liked Pill, but
mhm.
you know, even on my Duo, it like nah, the 3-button it really is the best kind of combination of, you know, moving and gesturing and controlling stuff. So that was definitely a highlight of the last couple of weeks is Marie breaking in a new phone. She's only dropped it like 3 times.
Oh,
She's
good.
already chipped 1 screen protector. So we got a
I don't
3-pack of Super Shields. So we're going to
okay.
be putting on Super Shield number 2 over the weekend.
I'm
And she just got an OtterBox case
I was
for it.
about to say we should be getting at this point, once you go to number 2, I think you should just go straight to OtterBox. Skip go straight. Don't even claim the 20. Yeah, oh my, yeah, no. Um, so as you probably remember from our last endeavor when we did our last collaboration. So my wife, I gave my wife the Note 20 Ultra, and she's been
Mhm.
enjoying that very well. She likes it, and she sees commercials, and she's very giddy about happy that it's on the news and stuff like that. And then I kind of broke the news to her a little bit. I think it's gonna be. I told her it's like the Note may not be the Note anymore. It's gonna be more. Everybody gets the pen. It's no longer you're the special one, just like everything. But she loves the pen. She loves the Note. She's enjoying it. And we've had a few tumbles. So I have what's it called? The Whitestone Dome glass on on speed dial. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
Please send more or something like that. But
Do you think she's going to be okay losing the stylus silo?
I'm not sure if I think for her, I think she appreciates having it in the phone. I think she appreciates the silo part. I'm not sure if she's going to be okay having that as a case accessory because it sounds like what it's the silo will be in the accessory. So you buy there's a special case from what I'm seeing. Some if it ends up being this way, but since we saw the rumors or the leaks of the the S21, obviously there's no pen, there's no input there for it, so it has to be an accessory that holds the pen. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I have an idea of how they're going to power it. Obviously, NFC power the way they've been using their cases, so that's not uncalled for. But I think I don't know. I don't know. We got to use it, I guess, to see how it works. With the V60, I love the fact that if I want the pen, I can use the pen, but
Mhm.
I don't have to worry about putting it in a case and doing a whole bunch of different things.
I'll be
So,
really curious because one of the main arguments I would have made this year
mhm,
is the battery bump that we got on the V60 kind of helped push me into that territory where losing the stylus silo but getting
more battery.
more battery and the V60 has been my battery champ. But next year, if we get this efficiency that they're claiming out of the A88 on top of an integrated 5G modem,
Integrate. Yeah, we're back to
tho-
integrated.
that combo could be as much a shot in the arm. Like you wouldn't notice the difference of like a 500 milliamp hour difference between two phones if the integrated modem components run more efficiently and the CPU, GPU processing power is
Oh,
sort of moving.
absolutely. Moving over to 5 nanometer, moving over to all the new improvements that the 888 is bringing in. There's no question we should be able to see some performance gain and lower power consumption. My concern, or at least what I would probably hope, is that we don't get the over. I'm not going to say bloatware, but essentially it is. So it's essentially all of the overhead that gets usually tackled on top of what you're normally getting with Android 11. So that's usually what makes things for me just go bonkers. But we'll have to see. I mean, we're weeks away from officially starting to see some hardware. Oppo, Xiaomi, Samsung, all are starting to
I
basically
mean, we've
are.
already seen the Galaxy S21. We know everything about it. There's no
We
point in
saw
even reviewing it.
no, we saw the OnePlus 9. We already know it's.
Yeah, didn't you see? That was one of my favorite things of this last podcast was is it the YouTube channel Random Stuff 2?
Yeah,
They
no,
have a Galaxy S21
Yeah.
and they're just showing it off.
Oh,
And
absolutely. And all they did was they have to hide the serial numbers on the bottom because there's that build serial number on the bottom of it. Because I was like, initially I looked at it, it's like, why does he have tape there? And then I'm like, they put their serial, it's the identifying serial numbers on the phone. So, but isn't it typical though? Do we not expect that anymore? Like every time Samsung's releasing a phone, there's like a bucket of leaks. They're like, okay.
I wonder if because this isn't so much a leak as this is someone who's really like showing off a lot of stuff. So this feels a bit more like when the Pixel 3 fell off the back of a truck in the Ukraine a month earlier.
Yeah, remember that one? Yeah, no, and I think was it wow? No, it was before. It was like enough time for them to do a full video, hands-on, everything, and then we waited later, and then we were all like hoping this was not going to be it, and then Google goes up and says, "Psych, it's it. It is what you saw."
No surprise.
No surprise. Thank you for coming. Bye bye. No, I do want to take a second. We do have a super chat that came in on YouTube side with
a super chat. Like people like you. Come on.
I don't know. I must be doing something wrong. I mean, right. Definitely right. So I think they're talking here about benchmarks are stress tests for hardware, but it can't represent users' interactions 100%. 100% on the OS and the UI. How intuitive does the software fluidity moves with the user makes a big difference. More mid-range devices performing at premium speed because of this.
So I completely agree, and this is one of the reasons why I feel benchmarking needs to crawl out of the synthetic bench. If your argument is we're spending premium cash on phones for very minute differences, you can miss me with that. You know, I don't feel that there's anything of substance to be gained in spending $1,300 on a phone so that you can open a social media app a fraction of a second longer. And I prattle on about this a lot. You know, average consumers, the way that we talk about those consumers in other reviews, average consumers buy average phones, and there is no business reviewing a premium tier device by the criteria of an average consumer. Every time I hear that in a review, that reviewer has failed to address the performance claims from the manufacturer. But that being said, I actually would like to see more $1,000 plus devices in competition, because we're starting to get to a point where this hardware genuinely outpaces consumer grade laptops. And you easily can get an incredible tier of work done, but it's of a very special mindset. You have to be one of those people who's thinking, I want to drive a pocket computer hard enough so that I can leave a nice camera or a nice laptop or not have to run to my desktop. That's a different kind of consumer. And so when we can put those kinds of performance metrics up in real world applications, I think all of us benefit. If I pick up a Galaxy Note 20 Ultra and say, I mean, it's pretty much the same as a Pixel 4a when I open Snapchat, I have failed as a reviewer. You should stop listening to me. I mean, well, first of all, you should make fun of me, and then you should go and listen to someone who's actually going to do something with that device. I'm, of course, speaking in a very sort of, because I have a vested interest in running video rendering. I do RAR compression tests. I added a photo batch, processing raw files. What's the other one that I run? Oh, like a transcoding test. And I'm trying to figure out something to do with documents. Like I really want a good, meaty document test. And I haven't kind of figured out what to do with that just yet.
Well, a perfect accessory to something like that, though, by the way, is if you've never ever actually heard of it, it's called Nextstock. Nextstock for me simplifies the process of turning your phone into that computer. So when you said that pocket experience, I feel like as an accessory, not to say that you do want to take more things with you. I always go back to that one time when you went to Computex and you ran that entire show off your phone. That was stupid crazy right there. So that to me was like the whole thing: shooting, editing, rendering, uploading from the. I forgot I think it wasn't the G7, was it, or was it the?
So the Computex, it was a tag team. I did most of it on a G8, but I also had just gotten the OnePlus 7 Pro.
It was just crazy.
With 7 Pro, and a lot of that was G8. But there are also a few. We did some walk and talk commentary videos.
I saw that. Yeah,
Newegg. And it was great because so Newegg sent us out there, and it was a team of 4 people.
Okay.
I was mostly hosting, but I was also kind of coordinating and doing some of the production. I had a video editor, just a local editor, and it was his job to like run media back and forth, and then at the end of the day, just chop the videos for Newegg. And then we had another producer who kind of just became like a catch-all. Like by the end of Computex, he was just carrying bags. And then we had a cameraman, and the cameraman was packing, just pack muling a ridiculous amount of gear. So we're getting to the last 2 days of Computex, and I sit down my editor and I show him what these video files look like. Like we can shoot 4K. And then when we render that out to 1080p, because we were only putting 1080p up, like we weren't even trying to do 4K videos. I think it's going to look pretty good. And he's like, okay, let's try it and let's see if anyone notices. So my cameraman goes from having like a Blackmagic, I forget exactly what camera it was, but a really meaty cinema grade camera, to my little rinky-dink G8 on a GorillaPod, where he would just put one arm of the GorillaPod up against his chest and then hold the other 2 legs. And the last 3 videos we shot on that G8, getting all of the commentary. I had these little wireless labs plugged into the headphone jack. It was the whole thing, and no one noticed a difference. He'd been hauling around like thousands of dollars of just stupid heavy camera gear. And our last 3 videos, everyone's like, yeah, that looks great. Okay, cool. We're going to publish it. And it was so disappointing, especially from the camera guy's perspective, because it was like, oh, I've been breaking my back this whole week.
I could have done this whole thing with a phone. Okay. We'll phone it in next time. We'll phone it in. Always.
Literally, we'll phone it in.
Well, that was actually, so there was that part, and there was also the other part when we met up again at CES a couple of times actually. But every time we've hung out, you've always had that setup, that whole portable setup, the mic, the handheld experience, and
I'm gonna freeze too. Someone's gonna have to tell us who froze, because I know I show Frozen for you, but I don't know. Someone in the live chat is gonna have to tell us who froze first.
TK, okay.
And I feel like, because that's gonna help us decide.
Everybody's dumb. Rolando's in the comments in there as well. Oh, Greg. Sorry, right there. Greg's running in this hashtag TKRB. You the man. Please share this with Juan, man. Yeah, no, for sure, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really liberating. I feel like I started doing this seriously for.
Oh, apparently it's me. It's me.
I think TK. I think it's your side, man. Anyway,
TK. Okay, that's it. I'm fired.
I started doing this in earnest with the P10, the Huawei P10, where I covered an Oppo launch and a OnePlus launch in Shenzhen, and I didn't want to have to. I mean, again, this sounds terrible because I'd never traveled through China, and I wanted to keep it as lean and as simple as possible. And I was just nervous to carry too much gear, cameras and laptops and all this stuff. So I did the whole thing on a P10, and it worked. And from then on, it hasn't been a detriment. I mean, I covered a CES exclusively on a V30. Like
Yeah, I remember it.
It's kind of crazy what this capability really feels like.
No, but those are the things that we have to be very grateful. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with this. And if there was one thing that I would probably say that was the highlight of my last week or so, was actually putting together and getting it kind of going up. I did a couple of collaborations on my channels, on both the English and the Arabic channel, and it was a lot of work, but a lot of sharing, a lot of fun time, just reaching out and talking to a lot of my friends, and of course yourself. And I felt like your delivery of the message in there was so, like, it connected so well, like the technology, the audio, all the different hearing technologies in 2020. And I also want to say thank you very much for letting me borrow your Theo. I saw your video and as opposed to saying, "Hey, great job," I'm like, "Dude, can I borrow that Theo?"
Here's the thing, especially as a fan of, my Bear Dynamics are up on the bookshelf. As a fan of the DT770s, I was actually really stoked that you wanted to take that little DAC for a spin.
Absolutely.
I know you have some AirPods Max coming in at some point. Whenever,
if they ever show up, just to say that I think
Apple distribution can get them to you.
Yeah, I was hoping. So just for reference to you guys, the original, when we first started talking and everything, I had I told Juan, hey, I picked, I decided to go for it, and then Juan was like, "What will you think?" And we got through that. And I was hoping to have him today, or actually have him with us now to actually go through and talk about them a little bit. Mm-hmm. But the stars didn't align, and it looks like it may align next week sometime. So maybe next week's show. I don't know. We'll have to see.
So folks in this live chat, both on your YouTube channel here, TK, and folks on Twitch. My Twitch channel, I'm going to be very upfront. I don't feel that by the time I could get my hands on these, that there would be any kind of critical commentary that I really feel is going to contribute. So TK, when TK's video comes out, it's incredibly precious that those of us with functioning fingers and thumbs help with some shares. If you enjoy this kind of commentary and you like what TK brings to a conversation, the dude is spending $600 of his own cash on some Apple hardware to join this conversation. And the fact that he is being slow played through the weekend means that the big hot takes and all of the SEO and all of the algorithm popularity stuff is happening right now. So when TK starts putting out his content, those of you on my Discord, those of you on Twitch, I see Fat Produce just jumped in. We've got to help push that conversation and actually put some effort behind it, because we know the YouTube algorithm is probably already going to start curving that kind of commentary.
Yeah, for the most part, I think that the biggest, the bow wave is actually kind of this week, because everybody's saying, Apple. And then by next week, it's probably going to start. TK will be showing up to the party. It's like, hey, I'm here. I got it. No, it's like, hey, move along. But I appreciate that. Yeah, no, definitely.
Especially because you also have my Theo. So I am just dying to hear what you think, like the combo.
I'm connecting this to every single piece of tech I can connect this to. Let's just say this. I was trying to jerry rig this thing to run with my Samsung, and it didn't work. So I flipped over to the Sony. I've also been using it. I've actually been using this on my PC just to listen. So I loaded up, I downloaded the Tidal app with the mastered. So I'm able to listen to mastered audio straight from Tidal right now. And just the beauty, the clear, these cans are amazing when they're driven right. Like you truly, like you can plug them into things that don't really drive them well. They don't have a strong enough of a DAC like a V60. And then you get some audio, but then you plug it into the Theo and you turn on. And there's a few other options. I forgot. I didn't realize that there's a few extra little options on the bottom. You're able to turn them on. And that this baby can rock. And
Oh, it
so
bumps. It's real nice. I mean,
uh,
there's definitely like there's a conversation. LFA Reviews is looking at the hip DAC, is the
mhm,
iFi, and I would agree that with just some cursory listening on the Fio that I don't know, Fio just kind of likes having just ever so slightly a bit of a roll off to the
mhm,
low frequency, so
yeah.
it doesn't get too muddy. The bass doesn't get too
No,
thick.
it's just the right amount, but it's enough for you to enjoy the music. Like you could truly just put them on, and it's the audio doesn't get muffled. You're listening to the true crisp audio, and I tried playing it at different levels, like the standard streaming, like the very heavily compressed, and going to hi-fi, and then going to mastered, and you could hear it. You could hear how crisp the audio, and like you feel like you're sitting in the room with the actual artist. So it's like you could just turn it off. So I'm really happy with thank you for letting me borrow it. I appreciate that. This will be I'm not sure
Well,
how long this will take before
Well,
if it ever comes back.
one of the things I want to throw out there is, one of the other things that was definitely sort of best of my week was kind of cleaning up and freshening up my
Mhm.
NOS. So with Marie on the Pixel, I got kind of tired of trying to get her to use like, well, she does. I mean, I got to say, she actually does a really good job of like sharing photos of Lex on our OneDrive, so our family can kind of see what Lex is up to. We don't share anything Lex public, really. I did a whole holiday video,
Mhm.
like how to make better holiday videos.
It was
There
and I think I saw it with it. It was like the back.
I found like 10 different video clips where it's just the back of my
back.
daughter's head, just so I could afford her some consideration for her privacy.
She made it in the video. If,
I think in an 8-minute video there is literally, I want to say there's something like 18 frames of her in profile from like a back 3/4 shot.
back.
Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
so one of the things that I did is I finally set up all of the auto routing and stuff so that
Mhm.
when my wife plugs in her Pixel on our home Wi-Fi, it will just automatically dump all of her photos and stuff to a backup folder on her NOS. So because of that, I'd like to extend the offer because we talked about this a little offline.
Yeah.
As you're going through that Fio, let me know if there's some stuff that you want to listen to on top of Tidal, and we can talk about some shared music collections.
I if
Give you
nothing
some
else,
really good
Daft
flat
Punk.
files. Oh, Daft Punk. Okay.
You got me when you said so. I was listening to the whole Daft Punk mastered album, and I would love to be able to just compare that to flat, just because the FLAC files are definitely going to sound a lot better. I'm still listening to streaming audio. Let's just say that there's something to also be appreciated, that it's still streaming, although it's a higher fidelity, it's CD quality.
Mhm.
It still needs to it needs some ways. So let's just say that. I wish, honestly, I truly wish I had built up my FLAC file connection. I do also have a NAS, which is set up, and I think I may take you up on that idea of setting up the auto backup, if nothing else, just for my wife, because
Telling you, man, it is so handy.
it's
It works
it
so
escapes me. Like, why did I not set it up? I already have the apps on her phone. I just didn't have the auto setup to
and
set up the auto backup. Yeah.
and also like, because I mean, it's not to say that there aren't really cool cloud services.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Got
no.
terabyte accounts on OneDrive and Google One, and actually no, we don't spend any money on Apple anymore. We gave up trying to use that as a subscription.
I just upgraded my my OneDrive, not OneDrive, my Google One
Google One,
to
yeah.
200. Yeah.
So I mean, like all of that, great. There is something so handy about having a giant box of hard drives that automatically just talks to the devices on your Wi-Fi network. It is so freeing, and like now, I mean, like I can literally just go log in through my file explorer here on
Mhm.
my desktop PC and go right over to my wife's backup folder and make sure that like I'm feeling really sentimental. So I put together that video talking
Yeah.
about how to shoot and how to edit better holiday videos. And it's kind of coming on the heels of going through some old family content. My mom just scanned a bunch of old slides and film negatives that were just in a dusty old box that my
Hmm.
grandfather passed away last year.
Oh yeah.
And
Sorry.
oh, I mean, yeah, it was last year, and it's the thing I'm sort of eternally grateful for is there was there were these old dusty boxes that thankfully no one thought to throw out. And so the actual content hadn't been stored properly, and a lot of them have aged poorly and they look really rough, but like we've got our family's history. My grandfather was a pretty decent photographer, and we've got 16 millimeter reels, and we've got film negatives, and we've scanned it, and we've got digital copies of it now. I can watch my grandfather and grandmother in their late teens dancing a jitterbug. I mean,
Oh
like,
man.
how crazy is that?
I
And so,
wish I mean things like that you wish you were able to see, like even have any yeah.
because we don't treat our media is so much more disposable now.
Hmm.
And like I'm sitting down and I'm going through my wife's phone. I mean, like there are videos and photos of my daughter, like from the time she was born that have just kind of kept getting moved from one phone to the
Phone
next
to
phone,
the
to the
other.
next phone.
Yep.
But my wife destroys phones, so I don't trust that content might. I fear that content might not make it to the next phone unless we back it up somewhere else. And so I'm going through this video, just cheesy video talking about how to make better holiday videos, and like there it is, my daughter's first steps, 4K video from an LG V20, and you're like, I can show her this. I can show my daughter her own history in 4K. There's almost no moment of my daughter's life that is less than 4K quality. It's not going to be the same as like 16 millimeter film. Like it just won't. But
Yep.
I feel I did my due diligence in archival quality from my daughter's memory.
It is truly it's yeah, no, I really appreciate what we are able to do, but you're right, it is truly more disposable than ever because we are all running on the digital, and it's and I say this because we did at one point have a problem. So my wife did have a problem on one of the SD cards that we had on her phone that was carrying a lot. I recovered a lot of the data off of it, but not everything was recovered. And to this day, every once in a while, she'll be like, "Don't we have pictures of that when he was doing this?" And I'm like, "I don't have it." And so we've been more diligent. Like when I transferred her over to the Note 20, I backed up her entire phone off on the PC, on my PC, before I even put it on. So in the worst case scenario, because I'm in the process of selling her old Note 7, no, Note 7, Note 10. I can't sell the Note 7. It's illegal. I have the Note 7, but I can't sell it. Actually, you know which one I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The special note
the
that
spectral Note. Yeah,
where was
it's
I was flying somewhere before all of this went down. It might have been Computex. It might have been last year's Computex where I'm sitting at the ticket at the gate, and they had still one of the old placards.
it says if you
Samsung
haven't
phones of this variety are not allowed on this
allowed on the
flight.
fly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
No,
countertop, like they just hadn't gotten rid of it.
so for me, it's been a great grave lesson to that learned. So yes, we back up the heck out of everything, and I've also added her to my Google Drive, my Google
Yes.
Photos account. So now she's able to back up, and I have it auto set up so that it automatically backs up. So at the worst case scenario, if it hasn't backed up to anywhere else, it's on Google, sitting in there, and she can also search. I explained to her the benefit of having it sitting on Google right now, because once it auto tags, like before the show, I was starting with you. I went into my photos and all I had to type in was Juan. That boom, all of our pictures came up, and that first one is the one I chose for the live stream. So that was a lot of fun. I appreciate the sort, but I think I need to set it up on my QNAP server. I'm not reaching the limits, but actually I think what I probably need to do is delete some of my old archived photo videos. I archived a lot of my old production videos, like the files and so on. And
I'm going. I mean, like I'm going back to like the finished videos now, almost 10 years. I've got 10 years worth of content. I don't keep. I stopped keeping all of the B-roll and all that stuff. But even for the finished videos, I don't know that I'll ever watch like my oh, what was it? My Nokia headphone reviews from like 8 years ago. Probably not, but I still have them.
They'll come back in style, man. Just don't worry about it.
I think I shot that on like a Canon PowerShot S2 and like and I think it was actually square frame video. It's like 640 by 480.
Ronaldo is saying that stop saying something in there because I keep activating his assistant. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was saying it.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it's also the I feel that that company, who shall remain nameless, should be doing a better job of recognizing what voices are trained. But
Absolutely.
I feel like we get to the end of the year. There's a lot of stuff that we look back on and reflect, and I'm feeling just very vulnerable and sentimental. And so it's sort of my plea for all of us who are techies: don't let this stuff fall apart.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my mom a couple nights ago, and she was just talking about like it's so funny how different members of our family handle things in different ways.
Mhm.
And I have an uncle, and he's actually a pretty fun sort of lifestyle iPhone photographer. Like, he likes to share his like morning cup of coffee, and when we were going out places, he'd like go to all these cafes and pastries and stuff, and just like some really, I mean, just really fun stuff. And she was talking to him just like, oh well, but I mean, you shoot so many photos and videos, like what do you do with the phone storage? And I'm thinking about, trading in my phone and getting something new. And he's like, nah, I just delete it all. And you're like, I really wish I didn't know that. This is, like,
Oh man. Okay.
this is an uncle I'm really close to. And just on the regular, he takes all of his content, he goes a couple years back and then just nukes it. And you're like, all that stuff is gone. All those little slices of life, all those little moments,
Little memories. Each photo has its own little slice of your memory. Yeah.
and of its time. It's I don't need it to be, like museum momentous occasions. It's actually all of these little slice of life, candid moments that help me remember stuff. All of
Mhm.
the really nice, I'm sitting down and I'm taking a staged portrait with a fake smile looking right down the lens of the camera. Like, yeah, okay, cool. But it's like, why did I take a photo of this weird like thing I saw on the sidewalk? Or what was going on when I was in my living room rolling around on the floor and I got like a close-up photo of this action figure? Like, what was that? And then something triggers and a little spark happens. I'm looking through these film slides from my grandfather, and it's like when they brought a new dog home, and there are these like random photos of like this puppy and my aunt's holding this little puppy. And you're like, that is so much more insightful to what life was like back then than the nice staged family holiday portraits and stuff.
It's the
And
casual. Yeah.
it just killed me to hear like my uncle's a fun Instagrammy kind of photographer, and all that stuff is gone. And he's not bothered by it, and that I get it, but like my daughter loves this uncle. I mean, like, this is like a family member she talks about nonstop. And like, I won't be able to show her anything
It's
later in
for
life.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
kind of freaks me out a bit.
yeah. I don't know. We value things differently, I guess, and depending on the person. He will always have his best moments, obviously, on Instagram or wherever he posted, as long as that service is up. If it doesn't get sectioned off into some other company. But yeah.
Now, I mean, now that you said that, like, I need to find a way to start scraping his Instagram account so I can back up his own ish.
So QNAP for me allows me to do that. I don't know if it takes really high quality of it, but it does allow me to back up Instagram, and it did at the. So you may want to check them out.
I don't want to make it weird, but I need to have memories of you in some kind of format where I can point to images.
This is what we have. This is what's going on. Yeah, no. So for me, that was the biggest thing. I think it's just the ability of putting together memories and little snippets, and I enjoy them all the time when Vanya sends me things like that. So my wife always loves to send me little like videos and things, so on WhatsApp and whatever, and we always reminisce. Kids grow up so fast; it's crazy. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, uh, and people that haven't seen, because he hasn't been to school for 9 months, for like, see, he's been home all of that with summer and all of that things. Like we went to we do Kumon for my son after school, and we went in today because they were doing the awards, so he was picking up an award, and they got to see him after having seen him for like 9 months, and they're like, wow, you grew like, boom. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. It 9 months can do it,
So
and
fast.
he's grown, man, dude. He's 11 now. I can't believe he's 11. I
It's
have an
too fast.
11-year-old. It
I
is,
mean,
it is, it is, it
just
is.
tell him to slow it down a bit,
I I've been trying, but I see a lot of myself, the techiness, the finding ways to go around what you've set, all whatever blocks you set. I see him working, so I'm like, okay, great. So whatever he's doing it right. Hopefully he's not listening to this live stream, but if he is, keep going. Uh, but yeah, no,
So, oh, I was just gonna say, in sort of ending our first pod, or starting to wrap up our first conversation on this kind of topic,
mhm.
a weekly conversation, best of your week, TK, best of your week. I got to put you on the spot. The Sophie's choice. Where do you land?
Honestly, it has to be the Fio.
Yes.
It has to be and I'm not doing so just for reference. A lot of people are going to be like, well, it's because he's not. No, it isn't. I so I the conversation started because my old DAC, my old portable DAC that I had,
Mhm.
started tweaking out. It was having problems. It would just not work with any of my smartphones. And I saw Juan's video, and I have not been able to put it down since I got it. And I look forward to listening to more things through it. So to me, once that becomes a driver for me, this becomes like almost like I feel like I need to make sure that this works with every device that I'm using. So like with with Samsung, when I couldn't get it to work with Samsung because of the adapter slash, you have to use their proprietary $35 20 whatever option, and that's the only way to work. So yeah, for me it's the Fio. Great battery life. Haven't been able to kill the battery on this one, but on the other end, I'm also using it as my sound system for my PC. It's like I'm editing videos with this. I'm watching a content with it, but I'm truly like enjoying the audio. Yeah, and of course the DT770s. You have to have the right pair of cans to be able to enjoy the quality, and the pros with the two. I think it was at 228. The ohms on it is
250
just
ohm.
yeah, clear, beautiful, and they're comfortable. They're easy to use.
You know
So
what I love about we're having this conversation because what 770s like full retailer like $180, right?
oh yeah,
They're,
absolutely. Yeah, they're not. And
tell me if I mean because I'm sure you remember this too. Just that notion you would talk about headphones and like $200 on headphones, and you'd see like that look on someone's face, and now the idea that you can run a pretty hardcore little portable DAC DT770 Pros
mhm,
and still be
nowhere near.
$150 less, $200 less, somewhere in that ballpark than
The,
what Apple's trying to sort of accomplish with the AirPods Max is kind of incredible from an audio quality perspective.
it truly is. And if you love your ears, you truly need to give the Fio so just you have to try it. You have to listen. And it's one of those things where you start listening to the music and not needing to actually boost the audio so loud to compensate for distortion, for air, for audio levels where it's not well balanced. So to me, it's literally, I've said it correctly. I actually watched almost a whole movie on this. I'm telling you, I'm listening to everything on it. Once I connected in my PC, because my setup back here with the monitor and everything like that.
What movie did you put on?
We were watching basically, oh man, what is it called? It was actually, it wasn't that great of a movie, but you may not like. It was Venom.
Oh yeah, no, Venom's okay. I mean,
No, no,
it's
it wasn't.
it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying like it was like a big. It was just normal thing. Omar wanted to watch it, so to me, it was just enough to enjoy the sound, the music that's coming in, but also the lot of the action. And it wasn't so rumbly. I think you were talking about at the beginning. The bass was not very thumping, that where it just, you need to feel like you're in the middle of a club and you need to be able to scream to talk to somebody. It's there. It sounds great, and then the conversation was actually very clear, which is what I appreciated. It sounded like you were there with the person, and it was more natural to me. So, but I appreciate that, and so for that reason alone, I'm not sure if you'll ever see it again. But yeah, so DT, the FIO is my answer.
And again, to back it up, because I'll hook you up with some Daft Punk offline.
Oh yeah.
The sound design in Tron Legacy, also very fun.
I got it. Yeah. Tron.
With.
So I'm coming up on a lot of time that I can sit down and watch a lot of good movies.
Times.
It
So
is.
I'll wrap up mine.
Yeah.
This last week there was some big, huge video game news. I don't know if you've heard some little indie title about the year 2077 and cyber things and stuff. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I can't say that I've been playing about 7 to 10 hours worth of that at all. Listening to.
So in true to form, while I'm putting together some content on that for Newegg, we're going to be doing another one of our RTX theaters and just looking at RTX performance and how heavy this game can actually run. My best of my week, my most grateful for the week, I was feeling really nostalgic. I don't know what it is. I'm super emotional about backing up photos and looking back and trying to kind of like recapture. Again, it's the familiarity, it's the safe weighted blanket of
Yeah.
old stuff. And so while I should have been playing a lot more Cyberpunk, I picked up Flashpoint Launcher. Have you played with Flashpoint Launcher?
No, I ever since Flash's well, let's just say that I haven't been playing a lot of Flash games, basically. But yeah,
No one should be. But like hold on, let me see if I can share my screen here for just a second, because it's kind of embarrassing. So I've got that shared here.
boom.
If you've never played Robokill, where you're just a little robot and you're killing these aliens and running around these maps, this game is so much more fun than it has any right to be. It's just dumb simple. Let me run around and I can put in different weapons. Let's see what this weapon is. Oh, it's another light blaster. I already have 4, but my shields are low, so let me pick this up and then I'm going to kill this thing here.
I love the soundtrack. It sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, again, you really want to use something good, like a good, powerful DAC, maybe some, I don't know, like some planar magnetics or some DT770s, just something that's really going to show off what's going on there. And like, I used to grind this game in a browser, like, all the time. I mean, just like an embarrassing amount of playing Robokill. And so again, I should be playing Cyberpunk and having all my hot takes and sort of keeping my commentary for Newegg, but this has been occupying way more time. This has definitely been one of the highlights of the week.
It's simple. It's easy. Point and shoot. Easy to go. There's no. I like it. No, I like and for me, Cyberpunk has been. It's been actually consuming a crazy amount of time. Crazy amount of time.
It's such a good start. I mean, again, and like I think it's fair to have some criticisms over the state that the game currently is in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's no question. Yeah. Bugs are obviously. Yeah, you shouldn't, but
knowing what sort of the evolutionary time frame of their previous titles, that this is a game that we're going to live with for like 10 years, and it feels like it's the right base it needs some work, but it feels like it's the right base. And especially in a year where I didn't get my vampire game,
Mhm,
I'm still very cranky about Vampire Bloodlines 2.
mhm.
I'm looking. There's a werewolf game that's going to be coming out early next year that I'm very anxious about. Also in the World of Darkness, if any
Yeah.
of you were, role playing vampires and werewolves, this was Cyberpunk is definitely like one of the highlights of the year, even for how rough this launch has been. I mean, knowing a lot of people who work in video game development, I don't think anyone wanted to put the game out in the state that it was currently in.
Yeah.
And I hope this serves as kind of a just to reinforce the idea that when you're one of these auteur studios, it's not like you're on this timetable and we have to have the next war game out every year on
Exactly.
the same time every year. I think it's just better to let the development process play out. I know, I understand, I get it. You've got to make certain deadlines or money needs to flow in certain ways. And it's just the whole art and commerce thing. But we can point to these types of situations and No Man's Sky or a Cyberpunk and just say, like, give it that little bit of extra time in the oven. And I think you get sort of better rewarded on the back end for the commentary that comes out. But everything that I played, even for some silly glitches and some weird AI, again, that's one of the things. It's just so much fun to point
There's
out.
some funky stuff. Like a
Yeah,
few times I
totally.
was playing, the character I'm talking to or I'm working with, like my partner in the game, suddenly is floating like 10 feet above me, walking in the middle of them, and I'm like, I walk around and I'm like looking, I'm like, how did that make? What code? What line was it? Was it what height 0 to 10? Like,
I
so
really wish. So someone just shared it on Reddit, and again, I'm so bad at recording gameplay. I
I
just
know.
don't think of it. Something funny happens or something weird happens, and I chuckle to myself, and I go right back into playing. And again, I blame Tetris. When I hit gaming flow state, like I'm not thinking of, oh, this would be a tasty meme to share later. But it did happen to me where I was playing the game and someone T-posed off the side of a building. And just like, how does that happen? How does an NPC just commit suicide off the
Like,
side of a building in T-pose? And someone shared it on Reddit, and I'm like, oh, I missed out on so much karma. I could have screen grabbed that and it would have been hilarious.
there's yeah, no, but with that being said though, um I appreciate the work that was done. I appreciate with all its glitches, I still appreciate the game very much. I
Oh
was a
yeah.
very heavy Warzone gamer, seriously, like hours a day kind
Mhm.
type of a game. And even with the new season, even though I did buy the season pass on that one, and I should be playing the season pass so that I don't miss out, I keep going back into Cyberpunk, and a lot of these little side missions. Even I'm not talking about the primary path because I still want to be able to play the game a couple more times, either with the different options. So uh, just gearing up, doing side missions, getting some money, and just pimping out and just getting nice cars, some upgrading the cyber gear and all of that stuff. And Keanu's character, Johnny Silverhand, oh my God, that is he did such a great job. The acting is yeah, no, but it makes you forget. It truly makes you forget. So yes, that has been a wormhole that I'm trying. Like hours go, I turn on Cyberpunk, hours disappear. I feel like the game when when you're waiting for something, it says some time has passed or later that day. That's how.
I'm definitely gonna be this is gonna be an enjoyable. I mean, until Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 finally releases, and then I'll
Which,
be able to put Cyberpunk down as I build. I don't know. I'm really thinking that I'm gonna start with the Tremere,
mhm.
maybe a Ventru. I really don't play Ventru very strong. I usually go like Bruja first, and then like maybe I could go completely against type instead of like a Nosferatu and instead play a Toreador. Something just like
Just to see
not not like
how it is.
just to see where the game mechanic handles it. I don't know. It would be really cool if the La Sombra were in there
Mhm.
though. So I don't think they've ever been represented well in a video game, but I don't think anyone needed to know that much about my vampire clan preferences. And I feel like now I have completely jumped the shark of this week's conversation. But yes,
It-
Cyberpunk, an amazing accomplishment. I should be playing it more, but I am running to the safety of my browser Flash games because Flashpoint is surprisingly good as an archive for those old titles. And I want to bring this up kind of in the same idea, like there's this effort to preserve content,
yeah,
preserve media. It's definitely sort of the theme of my week is saving things that
saving memories, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but to that same token, Fat Produce Andrew was in the chat too.
Yeah.
This is the right time to also talk about your local library. With the holidays coming up, we might be stretched a little tight. We're still trying to share and send gifts and do these things. Like, don't forget about that giant building that might be near you that you can go and grab a DVD or check out a CD.
And they
Or
actually have a massive collection. We've done it many, many times before the new setup. Yeah, no, the library is yeah, I think people forget libraries exist. It's weird. Like when you're a kid, because you get to go there a lot because of books and so on and read, so you remember it. So as a parent, that's why I feel like really we do. But yeah, you're right. I saw his comment and I appreciate that. When we're able to physically go back in, it'll be a lot easier for us. Right now, I don't know if it's the same for you. We have to actually to reserve things, and
Yeah.
we actually have to we have to do the drive through. And
definitely another stage of like I don't know what I'm trying to say there. It's one step less convenient than it
yeah,
used to be. But even
it's
for that, I mean, it's one of those things like we lose sight of some of these amazing resources and also like how we fund some of these resources. But I'm a big fan of don't forget, like back up your photos, get after your family for scanning and digitizing your old media so that you can share it with future generations. Browser-based games, you can back up those old Flash games, check out your local library for free content.
Mhm.
And there are going to be probably a bunch of video game sales and stuff coming over the next couple days. I think Epic's going to be giving away a bunch of games.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they do. Yeah, on the daily, and I ended up going with Steam. I didn't go with Epic. I wish now I went with Epic on Cyberpunk. But it, either way, I think it's still
not just for Cyberpunk. Cities Skyline is the free game of the week
Mhm.
on Epic, and I think they're also going to be doing another daily free game.
Oh, the daily games. Yeah, I think my library with Epic, it grows just by just me having an Epic account. I don't have to. I haven't bought.
The only game I've bought through Epic is Tetris Effect.
Okay.
So Epic got me for $14.99, and I have a ridiculous library of games on Epic.
as do I, my friend. But I prefer Steam mostly because of the compatibility with
For
GeForce.
sure.
Yeah. On NVIDIA Shield TV, I like to use the connector there, so it works really nice. But yeah, no, I do want to say that I think from a standardized point of reference for for timekeeping, the next couple of weeks, because of the holidays and the way things are going on, I feel like we want to also kind of keep that in mind, which I think we talked about. So probably maybe not next Thursday, for the next show. Maybe we'll move it over to Wednesday. Maybe we'll see how your schedule going on. Mostly because of we have Christmas, and then the week after that we have also New Year's, and that and then after that we have CES. And I'm just kidding. No, we do have CES.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
there's a lot. CES is going to happen. But with that being said, I think somebody was asking in the chat as far as gaming and stuff like that. What are we running, or as far as the system? And for reference on that one, I'm just running a Ryzen 3900X with a 2080 Ti. So I'm not running a super, but it's my standard editing rig that I build. I build it as a gaming system because it works great as an editing rig. That's my excuse for having a good gaming system.
I mean, same GPU. I'm on a 2080 Ti, but swap out the Ryzen for an older Threadripper. And
it's
not the best gaming rig when we really look at like price to performance. But again, I built it up to edit and render video, and it plays games okay, I suppose. I'm not hurting at all
No.
It's
I think horsepower wise, we have the GPUs to haul the game, but it's more for me, it's been running fine. There's no problem there. I am eyeing though the 5950X. I wanna especially with the fact that they use the same architecture as mine. I don't actually have to change my motherboard. I don't have to change anything on my system other than the CPU, and I just get a 20 to 30% boost in performance on the CPU.
Mhm.
So
I'm
once
I'm
once those
I'm
things are available to be found, let's just say that
I'm
they're not
eyeing
available.
that real hard, but it does mean a board swap for me. So
Well, because you're on the Threadripper, so it's a different architecture. For me, I happen to be on the same, so
you nerd.
so with that being said, kind of we're bringing it to somewhat of a nice little get together. I feel so much more. I don't know. I just feel like it was nice. It was just kicking it, hanging out, just checking out. And I'm happy that we both got the chance. Oops, and we're both going to be getting a chance to play around with this little guy, this little stuff. So we go for walks with the family. So for me, this is purely going to be absolutely fun. And I'm interested to see what you do and what what we can talk about. Maybe next week we can kind of recap a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
I'm thinking a project video might be digging out if I can resurrect one of my actives and
Mhm.
then clamping that in there and then just giving it to Lex. Be like, Lex, go shoot something just to see what she decides to do with it. I'm very curious, like what putting something like this in the hands of someone, because I feel like a lot of the times it's like, oh well, phones aren't as good as main cameras, blah 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 blah. And like when you give phones better accessories, funnily enough, the quality of the production seems to improve. Who'd have thunk it? So I kind of want to see what a 5-year-old might think is interesting content.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. Omar surprises me so much. Like I've given phones to just go take pictures, but
Mhm.
he's starting to have the composition. Like when we walk around, we're going for walks, and he's like, "Bubba, this
Right?
actually is a nice. This is nice. This is a nice picture." And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, and he sets it up, and you can see him. He goes down a little bit. He sets up where the camera would be, and he just shoots it from like, oh, I'm like, oh crap, you know how to
Oh
take pictures.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I've done it in a few some of my in the past in some of my videos. I tend to not say, which pictures came from where, but there's quite a few pictures of him in a lot of my videos of pictures he took with those. And for every single what's it called, thumbnail, where I'm basically the subject of the picture, he's the one taking the photo.
Nice.
He's gotten so good now. He's my thumbnail guy. So
I love it. I can't
got
wait
the hook.
until I can exploit child labor and make Lex
Oh, it
my
works great. They work on ice cream and candy. It's amazing. It's a great partnership.
I love it.
But um, with that being said, was there anything else that you'd want to cover today? Want to talk about? Mention?
I say let's go ahead and close this out. And really, one of the things that if we make this the format and we kind of interact with folks, and we can do this on the weekly, it's really just a good time to chill, to hang out, and to have a fun chat with some familiar faces. So,
Absolutely.
as we move forward and as we try and build a show around this concept, I'm definitely going to be excited to see these faces in the chat come back and we can chat out. I mean, I might need to do next week's like with a good peppermint tea and something really soothing and calming, just so we
I
can.
actually, some peppermint tea would have been nice. For me, it was more. I had to go grab a little like a Diet Dr Pepper just right before. Just
Oh, we froze again. TK, come on, we're trying to wrap this show up. No, we have to like.
freeze one more
Like,
time. Sorry, sorry, sorry.
oh no.
So with that being said, Juan, thank you for hanging out.
Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, I know. And I really shouldn't be. We're hanging out with each other. So it's like I feel like you're my guest on the show. No, we're not. This is the actual. I got to take it out of the mindset of that. So we'll talk again next week. Hopefully next Wednesday. If you guys are in the chat, I want to say. King Sai has a question that keeps coming up every few seconds regarding Xperia 5 or Xperia 1 Mark II. It really depends on what you're looking for, King Sai. They're great phones, but
Don't let them sidetrack you on digging into phones.
they know how to get to me. This is how my show goes. It starts with hi sabajo and it ends 2 hours later.
They're both good. They're both
What's
great
killing me
phones.
is that you got the same case. How did you get that case?
Great minds, my friend. We've been
Where in the
wavelength
name of
thinking on the
God?
same brain.
Oh my
Let
God.
everyone in the chat know. It is a little bit uncomfortable when you are thinking off the same brain as someone else.
It kills me. It kills me. But yes, this was totally not scheduled, non practice, nothing. I didn't know that he was going to ask the question at all.
I love it. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Again, sharing is caring, and supporting your favorite content creators has never been more critical than it stands today. And I would definitely like to make the theme of next week's show, as we get into one of the major holidays, a little bit of focus on the best of your week also.
Yeah,
so be
absolutely.
thinking about that as the question, as we get to Wednesday, as we get to the middle of next week, and as we start looking at a big major holiday. What was the best of your week?
With that, I would say thank you. Have a good night. Be safe. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next week on another episode of the best of the week, episode 2. And this time I'm ending it with Vegeta.
Yeah.
In Juan's honor. He's always the right guy. Take care, everybody.